Secret House.
Secret House.
But I don't feel niggas.
Secret House.
I don't fear distance. This the troubled world that we exist in. Big man splits,
That's
bullet
right.
Pistons, we assist them. In this very instance, not a victim. Run the wing as if I'm trying to kick some. A special spirit, this one. With so
Let's
much
just bring it in. Let's bring it in. I'll play a little bit of Navy Blue at the top of the show. That's right. Secret House Against the World, Tokyo bass, hip hop, art, and culture. Largely reviews on this side over here. Today, we've got a special guest. You guys know me and Jet. Peace, Jet. Good to see you back. Yeah. So today we have assembled, and we are going to discuss the new Navy Blue album with my man Terrence here. Oh, well, wait. Do we call you Terrence?
Yeah.
Is it cool?
Yeah,
Is it
yeah.
cool, Terrence? I
Terrence
don't know if you're doing another superhero name. You know what I mean? Yeah, Terrence has been on reviews with me before. What did we review?
Boldy
Ka,
James.
the Ka album too.
joint.
Yeah, those are back when we were doubling up. It was just me and him. So yeah, I brought him in today because our guy L Spade is out for a little bit.
Shout out
Peace
to
to
L
L
Spade.
Spade.
Yeah. If you are a new person to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button. We talk about underground, independent hip hop music. Sometimes it's not independent, like this joint. But yeah,
Hopefully we'll have Spade come in for some video voice.
I think
something
so.
like that soon.
He's
He
getting
seems to
situated.
be getting situated. Yeah.
And just for the record, I'm a special guest, but I'm also a big fan of the show, so I'm always locked in.
Hey,
every
appreciate it.
episode.
Always in the
Appreciate it.
comments. Appreciate it.
And Terrence in Tokyo, he had been working on a podcast out here for a long time. He's got some new things coming. I imagine I'll get him on a Mega Late Show episode sometime soon. He's been on plenty of Mega Late Show stuff. We've been rocking together for probably like 5 years
Yeah,
now,
for
6
sure,
years, something like
for
this.
sure.
So yeah, man, right to it. Navy Blue, Ways of Knowing, 13 songs, 37 minutes. Navy Blue, the truest. He is an MC, producer, sponsored skateboarder,
skater, yeah.
pro skater, a model. He also had his own label, which is called Freedom Sounds. But this album is coming out on Def Jam, which was a bit surprising to me, just like it was for the Maxo. But from what I understand, just like the Maxo, he put this album out and he's already hit the eject button.
Wow.
So
Okay, I didn't know that.
I don't know what's going on with these artists, and what that means or what it says about the music. But yeah, man, a larger audience guaranteed for sure for Navy Blue.
Hopefully he gets the bag as well.
Yeah, get the money, I suppose. It sounds like he talking about being with Dave Chappelle and riding in Teslas. So, he modeled for Supreme as well.
okay.
He's a very handsome human being. But yeah, he's got a bunch of projects that are released. I think 3 came out recently that were limited to physical only copies.
Yep.
and limited in supply. So I didn't hear any of those. But yeah.
How do you feel about that? Like same with Mark Homme, right? There's been this kind of movement, I think, especially recently among larger MCs who are much more intent on ownership of their own material and doing limited runs and charging a large amount of money for a physical copy of an album that got a very, very short run and then releasing on streaming a year or two later.
Personally, I don't mind it at all. Of course, when it comes to artists that I really enjoy and love, I want to have access to that music. And when you have a Black Star album that comes out on some weird side podcast platform, it makes it difficult. But I understand because, of all of the arts, physical copies of music is probably the one that is least appreciated in terms of actually having authentic things. Now, of course, there's people that collect records and vinyl, but for a lot of people, especially in the day and age of streaming, a lot of that shit is just mad disposable. Listen to it, forget about it for years.
Yep.
And physical copies of art, I think, are important. And for certain artists who value their artwork, that are putting together, very conscious of the album covers and the packaging and how it's distributed, I'm with it.
And
but it sucks.
I've
though.
spoken to a lot of label and record industry people out here in Japan, and all of them have told me the same thing, where it's the most important thing is ownership. Own everything that you put out. Don't sign things over to labels. Don't, even if there's a big advance or there's more money, make sure you own those masters. Make sure you own the rights to whatever you're putting out, because I guess that's where the money is. And also there is an artistic, not pride, that's not the right word, but if you're an artist, you should be the sole proprietor of your own work if possible.
So what do you guys think was the reason why Navy Blue went to Def Jam? Because he's been independent for a while, right?
Skrilla's, I suppose. Exposure, perhaps. It's really hard to project into, but there used to be a big, like, an ethical thing of when I came up in hip hop, which was, late 90s, the emergence of kind of the underground independent scene, people putting MP3s out, shit getting sold. A lot of it was like, own your shit. Like, if you go back to like 95, Dr. Octagon, like, every record, every rapper on a label should resign or quit. And ownership was a big part of it. We've seen from the earliest days of hip hop and even music in general, especially with black artists, their fucking music gets raped by the machine and they don't get shit. That's why you got dudes that, did the drumming on an Amen break and then fucking guy dies, without owning a house or some shit.
Yeah.
The most used sample probably ever in the history of it. And so for me, like, ethically, I'm just like, yo, bro, you should own all your shit.
Ironic
But
also
who
that
cares?
you cited Dr. Octagon as the example, because there was that really fucking terrible, like, Return of Dr. Octagon or Dr. Octagon 2 or whatever that came out in, like, 2008 or something like that, and it's very clear that Kool Keith, like, had nothing to do with it. They very...
you mean Dan the Automator? Because it was a Kool Keith album, right?
Well, it was,
there was-
but it's just like a bunch of like random verses that from demos and stuff like that. Somebody must have owned the rights to it and threw together. It was like a European production team that threw it together, and he claims he didn't really have anything to do with it.
Okay.
Dan Nakamura also had nothing to do with it, of course.
Very strange.
But it was kind of, and the thing is, sonically, it's not even that bad in places, but you can really, really tell that this was something that was patched together. It's like a posthumous Dr. Octagon album for a man who isn't dead.
When it comes to like Navy Blue and Maxo, and I guess we can kind of just get into.
Yeah, let's get into it.
First we gotta talk about how we know the artist. That's what I like to do. Especially we got a guest today, so I would like to ask. We always ask ourselves when we're reviewing artists for the first time. This is our first Navy Blue album on the show. How are y'all familiar with his work? How long? What do you like? What do you hate? Shit like that.
Sure. I've been a
You wanna
fan for a minute. Couldn't even tell you like where I started. I feel like he's just been someone in the last maybe 6 years who's just been kind of on my radar. I listen to everything he puts out. He features and produces on a ton of stuff I listen to. A lot of the stuff we've reviewed here on Secret House as well.
Word.
He's been responsible for production in some capacity or another.
Word. How about you, T?
Through this show, man. I mean, through your channel.
Like Mega Late Show. you
Yeah,
mean?
Mega Late
Okay.
Show. I probably got hip to him probably from like Earl and
Yeah.
Akai
Yeah.
Solo and all of them.
Terrence is real, like, he from Brooklyn and he's close to my age, so they just give you a time signature like where he was at. So he grew up on like Boot Camp Click, and as our friendship developed, I kept on pushing him towards weirder and weirder shit. And finally, he's a huge Earl fan, huge Woods fan. And so you probably heard like The Mint. The Earl track, The Mint, which is one of my first kind of exposures to Navy Blue, I think, as well. That's 2018. Then I got the EP Gang Wang for Navy, which I loved and try to hit late to on my podcast. And he like a few tracks, but I've been a big fan ever since then, and I really do like his approach. He produced, he's also a producer. I don't know if I mentioned that, but he produced all the beats on Akai Solo's album True Sky, which is one of my top 10 albums of the year when we did our list back in 2021. So and he's got, like, last year, one of my favorite verses of the year. He's on that Quelle Chris Def fame. So Tired You Can't Stop Dreaming. And I'm just, he's produced for Mock Hami, he's produced for Akai, for Mike, for Cities of Eve, Pink Sifu, Earl, and he's just dope. So I've been a big fan for a long time. I was definitely surprised to hear that this album was coming out on Def Jam, but yeah, fucking with it. What about the producer, Budgie?
Not familiar.
Not familiar at all.
Okay, I've got a couple notes here about him because I am familiar with him, but he was a person that I was not terribly familiar. His beats are in the background right now. We're having like a gospel meeting or whatever. I need to change it up to actual beats, but he's a UK producer who I think lives in maybe Los Angeles now, but he's worked with hella people. He's got project with Alchemist, beats on the last Prodigy album, which is, I like to make fun of it because it's called the the Hegelian dialectic,
Okay.
the Book of Revelations by Prodigy of Mobb Deep, which I found very funny because I was like, man, listen to it. I was like, this ain't got shit to do with Hegel.
Nope.
Y'all know I read Hegel. And you know, he's worked with, he's got a beat on the Kanye Jesus is King album or whatever the one with the blue is.
What?
Action Bronson, Earl, Evidence from Dilate. Well, I guess you can't even say from Dilated. He's his own star now. Pink Seafood, Madani, and yeah, he's good. He's great.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just don't know him all that well. So
Gotcha.
yeah, I'm getting hot in here. Can I turn the air conditioner on?
Yeah,
You
sure,
want me
yeah,
to close? Should we close that? Is the lighting
Is
going to
that
be
clo-
weird?
No, I think we're good.
We good? We good? All right, I'm gonna put the air conditioner on because it is now spring here in Tokyo. But we all kind of don't know him, but we've heard him, guaranteed.
He might be my MVP on this record as well.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Word.
Yeah.
Let's get right into the
Let's get
album
into
then. Peace. Yeah. Ways of Knowing. Who wants to start it off with your general thoughts on the album, or you know?
Sure.
Jet?
I love the production on here. I think generally across the board, everything in the creative process was done extremely competently. Like the rapping on here is good, the features on here are good, the singing is good. I really, as someone who doesn't have that kind of resonance with gospel music, I grew up in a secular family. I'm from the UK, so that kind of Pentecostal Christianity that I think a lot of Black Americans really resonate with, you know,
Black
listening
Baptist shit. Yeah.
listening to music in church type thing doesn't resonate with me at all, but I really, really enjoy it on this album. I think the chord progressions on here are absolutely gorgeous, basically from start to finish. There's several tracks on here where I'm like, yeah, like this is really, really beautiful. That said, something's missing for me. Something about I really want to love this album, and maybe, you know, a bit of a hater's gambit there. I wanted to like it, and I do like it, and I think it's very, very good. I think this is going to end up on a lot of album of the year lists for people. Not mine.
I've certainly had a lot of the homies, you know, MJ the Sensei, my cousin A Valley, they were like, yo, the new Navy, the new Navy. And I was like, yeah, word, you know. I really am, I'm a big fan of what Navy Blue does lyrically. He's extremely personal, open, honest, spiritual, sensitive, and rather optimistic. He's big on turning pain, sorrow, depression into, you know, compassion, self-love, and his art. And he does this in a way that I don't get from a lot of other people who kind of do this self-help kind of introspective type of raps. I think that he's got a very poetic kind of meter to his words, and there's a lot of deep beauty that I sense from a lot of his works. That first track that I played, that off top freestyle, man, that whole joint is beautiful. And one of the comments there is like, man, Gil Scott Heron vibes, and I get that in a lot of ways from him. I like how he centers his priorities on this album. There's deep compassion about his family. He's really good at doing it. The production is tremendous. Like, it sounds like a Def Jam level studio type of album. It's extremely clean. Our man L Spade would be like, word,
Yes.
this type of hip hop, this guy's doing well, because it's not just a sample loop like what we get with a lot of artists like Navy Blue, who are into that kind of lo-fi, you know, the drums on the
Dusty.
track are from the sample, which are already muted, and it's just different. This album, it really felt to me like the Maxo in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you heard the Maxo, but it's very clean to the point that I feel like I'm missing something there, but I see the broader appeal, which was funny that they're both on Def Jam because they both elicit the same response from me. I love these guys. This album is wonderful, but something is missing for me. I just, I don't know. Terrence?
For me, I don't have. I haven't had time to sit with this album, so I just started listening like yesterday. So, with him, I think a lot because I listen to a lot of Navy Blue through YouTube, and I'm just like kind of, you know,
Let the algorithm just
just let
wash
the
over
algorithm
you.
just introduce me to stuff, and so I can say that he's just consistently good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a consistent sound, and like you said, he has a lot of substance. You know, he reflects. He gives you all of him. You know what I mean? He's very open about, you know, his experience and stuff like that. So I definitely appreciate lyrics like that today.
How you feel about his rapping skill and his ability? Because he's not like a punchline, like boom,
Yeah.
like
No.
or
Yeah.
even a like, here goes a solid thought put together in a very witty way. It's just most of it is just like, my grandma, I love her,
And
and
that's
I'm gonna turn that love into a dove. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
yeah, okay.
and that's what I was gonna say. Like he makes consistently good music, but sometimes like I just kind of feel like nothing really resonates with me. It just all kind of like blends together.
Word.
Yeah, it's just like consistently good, but it's not like you said. There's no
Yeah.
bars that like kind of.
And this whole album
out.
is very kind of mid-tempo,
Yeah.
gospel samples,
Lots of singing from
lots
him
of
as well.
singing.
Yeah.
And to be fair, even though it's pretty obvious that Navy Blue is not a singer,
He makes
normally
that shit work to me.
he makes it work.
sometimes.
He really makes it work, especially when he has the features on the track singing in unison with him or harmonizing with him. I think it works really, really well. There have been a number of times, even when we reviewed last week. Sorry, what did we review last week?
Ajay.
Not the
King Vision Ultra.
no, the other one. We're almost there.
Maxo.
No, not the Maxo.
Was that- no?
The Deem Spencer.
Ah,
When we reviewed the Deem
that-
Spencer,
Fucking
there's
off.
a lot of singing on that
Yeah.
record, and a lot of the singing didn't work for me on that album because he kind of just mumbles his
Yeah.
way through his lyrics, and I kind of just
Nate?
like lose sight of it. On here, like Navy Blue isn't a spectacular singer by any means, but like there's some realness there, like and because of the cleanliness of the production and how well assembled it is, like he sounds good.
Bro, I think that's one of the more surprising things on the album for me. Like, I was just vibing to it because it very much is it's the opposite of Scare the Hose music.
Yes.
Like, this is very like, you play this around your mom and your dad, and they'd be like, word, okay, yeah, the beat's good, the rap is good, the message is good, and his singing on it, I was just like, it's interesting because he'll be like, he'll sing and be like, all right, that's like a bridge or a chorus, and it's like, oh, wait a second, he's singing an entire verse here, and it's like, damn. It's not auto-tuning. If it is it's very, very discreet
well put
and
together,
subtle. But he sings his ass off on it, and a lot of the things he's singing about is like really dope.
In fact, I would say
like
my favorite track on this album is Freehold, which has a lot of singing on it. I believe also keys by En Masse Keith of Sarah Creative Partners.
Oh, no shit.
Which, I mean,
Yeah.
you can hear it, right? You can hear that Sarah in there.
That whole shit is a mantra.
Yeah.
That Freehold track.
Exactly,
the singing
exactly.
Is a fucking mantra. It's incredible. I didn't have the notes on him being on the album with the keys.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really standout collaborators on this album as well that I fuck with. Kelly Moonstone, I was not familiar with her. Liv.E, she's on here and it's like a singing track. Venna is also a person I'm not familiar with. My standout feature that I love, and I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with him, but Zero with that H, bro. Zero, for cats that don't know, man, Zero is one of the most incredible artists that nobody knows about. I'm not sure I would say that any of his albums that have been dropped have been really capturing what he's about in his music. But bro, Zero is fucking amazing. The people who are like, I've seen Bus Driver post about Zero before, and you guys know I love Bus Driver. And what he has to say about Zero is like, Zero is one of the greatest. Everything about his work and place in the world lends itself to high truth, and he's fucking ill.
I was so happy to see his name on that track list when you were like, oh, let's do the Navy Blue, and I pulled it up and I was like, oh shit, Zero's on here. It's tight.
I got really excited about the album for that reason, and in fact, that song with Zero is incredible. Like Zero just has a great performance. His voice is very well. Like, he really adds something to the album that's not just like, here I am. It's like, man, he's fucking amazing, bro. Like, Zero, highly recommend Zero. He's dope.
I'm gonna have to check him out,
bro. Like, yeah, the joint what has it got on the John Wayne album? Like,
he's on there. He's
Hills.
Yeah.
I've been running up the hills now.
Yeah.
Oh man, Zero's incredible. But the features on this are great too. There's, man, maybe it is a hater's gambit. I really want to like this album a lot. I don't dislike it. There's a lot of really dope moments on this and songs that I love. But my first, like even the Zero track, I was like, all right, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
There's just songs that don't stick for me at all. Like the one. Wait. It's not that one. It's the To Fall in Love track. I don't really care for. I don't care for the 80s synthy R&B vibe of Chosen, which was like the head release single. And you know, he says dope shit on that. He says like he's got that bell hooks line.
Yeah.
Right, where he's like swinging through the 12th until I hear the bell hooks and then uppercuts. Shout out to Bell Hooks. Remember to spell her name no caps. Like he's very insightful when it comes to that shit, bro.
Yeah.
I like him a lot. I like his music. I'm glad. I have to believe that the reason that I'm not enjoying the Maxo in this navy blue has something to do with Def Jam. I'm just going to blame them, bro. I don't fucking know.
I think maybe because a lot of Navy Blues work is murky and dusty and has this kind of weird quality to it. And if there's one thing this album isn't, it's weird. This album is not weird at all. And we are both fans of like very left field, very strange kind of off-kilter music. And there are elements of that, you know, the way the Budgie like manipulates some of the gospel samples. There's like a vaguely unsettling undercurrent to some of those samples. And I really, really do enjoy the production on this. I do think it's dope. But it's extremely clean. It almost sounds like a Kendrick Lamar album or like a J. Cole album in places. And I don't mean that in like a, you know, people know we're not fans of J. Cole on here, but I don't mean that in like a pejorative way. Yeah. I just mean like you can hear that, you know, there was some time and money put into this. And I'm sure Elspade would absolutely adore that. But I do think like in terms of our own personal preferences of what we like, maybe a little something's been lost in the process.
If I could, like, you know, his writing, and I said all those words earlier about, like, the type of things he talks about. This is more of the kind of introspective self-help stuff and adoration for his family and trying to get over pain and stuff. And the whole album's about that.
Yes,
for the most
there's
part.
one real subject matter.
The whole album's about that, and in a way, it's a really dope, interesting cohesion that he presents. It's a personal journal. It's he raps his diary in a way. He raps his diary, and that's dope. But I kind of
do you feel like all his projects is consistently with that theme, just like
it's a big part of his work.
Family.
Yes, but not as specifically on this record. This record is very, very explicitly about the guidance and love that he has received and who he is today is informed by those who came before. And for the most part, I think is dope. I think he does a really, really good job on here. I never get any kind of insincerity from him. You know, a lot of like positive and inspirational rap does nothing for me. I'm really not into that kind of like Instagram picture of a sunset, like you can do anything if you put your mind to it type rap.
You think the sobriety? You think the sobriety is adding to like the change of his approach? Because that's another thing he talks about on the album is like, you know, he's sober and he's been sober for a while, and by that I think he means like no alcohol, no trees even, and none of these substances in his body that alter his state of mind.
I don't know, and honestly, that's not like a subject I'm like comfortable touching because I just want what's best for him and I want what's best for people generally. You know, I really don't like it when it's just like, oh, yo, when this person stopped taking drugs, their music sucked, because I'm kind of like, I love fucking Lean Got Me Fucked Up by Lil Ugly Mane, but like a lot of my favorite rappers would like are not alive because of Lean and that kind of music that glorifies the consumption of Lean. So I try not to touch too much into that kind of thing. That said, like, yeah, probably.
Word. Man, it's beautiful. The album is beautiful.
It's very pretty.
If
soulful,
you know, my personal taste aside, I think this is one of the better albums of the year. I definitely I can see this showing up on a lot of people's top 10s. You know, album of the year even for a lot of people, especially fans, because he doesn't. If you're a Navy Blue fan and you like those specific things that he does, it's a lot of it. It's like almost, it's executed very well. This is like fine dining for Navy Blue fans.
You know what else is real cool about Navy Blue? there's a lot of like musicians or talents, celebrities out there who are like, oh my God, he's so multi-talented. He can do anything. He's an actor. He's a writer. He's a singer. He makes music. He's a producer. He does everything. And you kind of get the impression of like, oh, that's like a marketing strategy for that person whose name doesn't rhyme with Ronald Glover.
Right.
And Navy Blue's actually one of those people. He's actually a guy who's fucking sick at like a lot of things.
Tremendous, bro. He is one of the artists that I think we should all be on the lookout for. Maybe I hope that this album brings a lot of attention to him on the main stage. I imagine he is. I mean, like on the album, he's talking about being with Dave Chappelle and all his stuff like that. So I imagine he's in these circles. He's a model for fucking Supreme.
Yeah.
So, of course he's at those fine dining tables with a nice silverware and the Illuminati mask, maybe. I'm joking about that. But yeah, he's doing very well. I just want to, before we get into our joints, I would like to just highlight like a bar or two that I got from him. Like on this track here, Life's Terms, which is one that features Zero. Beautiful track. And he's like, I was begging for your pardon, all up in that dark stardust when I was self-harming. Can't go there, nowhere. It's better than your arms, swear. It's troubling on God's sphere. Dealing with death, I've been a pallbearer. All that worry in my palms bare. I'm turning sorrow into self-care. And of course, I don't do the cadence or the rhyme any justice, but man, he's really beautiful, and a lot of these songs really work for me in terms of like, you know what? Sobriety is great, and I'm on my 6-month sobriety with 2 slips. Not even a slip. I intentionally did it on an equinox and on my cousin's birthday. But yeah, shout out House of Beers. But yeah, I feel him on that, man. This is a person that people should. I would like if more of the mainstream aspired to these type of like this reflection in these type of goals. We're about to review Scaring the Hoes next, so this is, you know what I mean? Like it's a little different. I'm not trying to say it needs to be this or that, but this is this. And I would recommend this album to you go, Jet. I got to think about it.
I think the people who would benefit from this album the most are going to find this album. I know that's a bit of a cop-out answer, but the people who are into your Mike, your Earl, even like your less kind of underground neo boom bap, whatever you want to call it, type stuff. People who are into like your Tyler the Creators and stuff like that, I think are going to gravitate in the direction of this record, especially if it receives some of the plaudits I anticipate that it will by the end of this year.
Who you got?
I just think generally like people who appreciate substance, substance, someone who's not afraid to get personal. Yep. In their music, and it not just be like this kind of facade or this kind of character that you paint,
I would recommend this to fans of self-help books. I don't know if that sounds right. Self-help books, man. But I would just recommend this to people who are very thoughtful and people who are interested in unraveling their ignorance and unraveling some of the traumas that they may carry from the past or the present. And I think that this Navy Blue guy is a special kind of guy.
Yeah, it's definitely a type of music that you have to sit down and kind of like really listen to. Not just.
It's got a lot of gems. Like every single one of these tracks is like, this is an album of jewels. Yeah. Like rejoice, like enjoy it, man. It's dope, man. Navy Blue, the truest,
for sure.
This is my favorite song, by the way. Kill Switch.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just dope.
There was a few joints.
This I honestly sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you good.
From Kill Switch onward, the second half of the album, I actually enjoy a lot more than the first half of the album.
There was one joint, like just the beat, it kind of reminded me of something like Dipset with rap too, like the gospel and the sampling type stuff.
Yo, phone call intros and interludes are the number one way for artists now to show that they're a real human being.
Oh, that's the one part of the album I actively don't like. Actually, I didn't bring it up because I didn't want to bring too much negativity along to an album that I like, even though I don't love it. But I always find it so self-aggrandizing when rappers like will play like a sample of like their grandma being like, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
man, everyone's grandma should be proud of them.
Yeah.
I'd be
But
proud of
happens a
Nathan
lot.
too
That
if I was his
Mike-
grandma.
Mike album,
Mike
yeah.
got that
Yeah.
fucking.
So proud of
It's a thing. It's a
Yeah,
thing
so-
for the person rapper to be like, hey, it's your grandma. I love you. You're beautiful. So proud of you. And I am too, Navy Blue.
We are though. We are though.
No, seriously. I
Jump to that Phases joints real quick. I think it was a track. Was it? That's it.
no, this is kind of just like a quick joint. Oh, maybe, because it is that kind of chipmunk soul
Yeah.
sped up.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, this
Fine,
is the joint that I kind of thought about Cameron and like Dipset. They've done these kind of similar.
Chipmunk soul was a big thing for a while, yeah. But yeah, Secret House Against. Shout out to all of our Patreons. There'll be a short little video with your names and stuff. Now.
Navy, blue, the truest. Joseph had hands I never seen. Navy in the Vanguard, Navy in the forest green. His life did exceed his palms. Legs stagger pop, take me to your concolo. Young age, known things I ain't supposed to know. More life, more pain, trying to cleanse my soul. Peace, more rain when I'm stepping home. Fear, reappear, watching blessings go. You was never there when I needed you. I could count the years when it hurt the most. Strength, wish Ben wasn't on the soul. I wish George wasn't on the soul. Growth, these words know they hurt the whole. Grace, give thanks.